Sarah! God, it's good to see you. I hope your being here means you've had your fill of rest. Not so much as 40 winks, truth be told. You're too selfless, that's your problem. You'll be no good to anyone if you don't take a break every once in a while. Anyway, not much has happened since your last visit. I had planned to meet you for your meeting that helper I told you about. He refuses to answer his link bro. I do hope he's alright. We've been exchanging messages with the Ares and allies throughout, though. They say the fighting has finally stopped at the Gimlet Dark, and that the Empire has shown no sign of movement. Which means we might actually have a moment to ourselves for a change. Seeing you back, maybe you could tell me more about your time in the First. Great. Only if you don't mind, I'd like to ask Feline to join us. She wants to know what happened to Menvillian, and I think it's best she hears it from you. We'll meet you on the terrace at the House of Splendors. Sarah, mine hasn't been too long. Tatara did mention that it would be joining you, did she not? Thank you. Words cannot express how I would long to know more of the First. This world Menvillia had sacrificed so much to save. But come, rest your feet. Tatara should be arriving shortly. And so Menvillia chose to pass on her gifts on to the next oracle. This gold thanker named Irene. To have such a burden thrust upon her as a child, only to embrace it when given the choice. In that respect, they are quite alike. It would seem her legacy is indeed in capable hands. Sarah, I'd like to ask you a favor next when you return to the First. To tell Irene what I cannot. Tell her, thank you. And I would offer thanks to you as well, for staying with her to the end. Begging your pardon, but could I have a word? Real? I hope you're here to tell me you've received word from my helper. I wish. Nay, I've not heard a peep from him. And it's been a good long while now. Too bloody long. On account of which, I'm going to sneak over to the board and see if I can get a signal to him to form closer up. But what if they catch you? There must be another way. Well, it ain't as if we can ask Thanker to do it. Besides, I shouldn't have no trouble picking me way out through the gimlet now that the fighting's dying down. Guys know there's been enough shadows to hide in. And the beats waiting around here twiddling me thumbs. Any road. I just thought I'd let you know. Now I'd best be. I never forgot. Crowds at the stones. She wants a word. Something to do with the patients. She was getting ready to examine them again when I left. You'd best head back then. I'm sure it's important. You need to worry about me. Go and see what Crow has to say. Seems you're still examining them. Oh, I do hope it's nothing bad.
You're here. Good.
So, how are they?
Still locked in slumber, but otherwise in good physical health. For the present, at least.
For the present? Oh no, is something wrong with them?
I'm afraid there may be. I summoned you after detecting faint signs of instability in Thancred's corporeal ether. But subsequent examination suggested all 5 might be affected. And when I examined them just now, my fears were confirmed. Tellingly, the degree of instability varies between them. Thancred exhibits the most notable signs, followed by Y'shtola and Urianger. The twins' ether, meanwhile, remains relatively stable, but there is a change there too if one knows to look for it.
Hold on. Isn't that the order they were called away in?
Indeed. Which leads me to believe the instability will only increase with time. Though I can but speculate, I fear this may be a symptom of a weakening link between body and soul.
By the gods! What happens if the link is broken?
I cannot say for certain. This is all unknown territory to us. Yet whatever happens, it cannot be good. Mercifully, the instability is still only slight. And you may rest assured Master Matoya and I will do everything in our power to keep it from worsening. Be that as it may, it is imperative that you find a way to restore our friends' souls to their bodies.
Leave it to me.
Thank you.
But where's she even supposed to start? We had the greatest minds in the realm hunting high and low for an answer, and they ran out of places to look.
You stated in your report that the Exarch had originally intended to reverse the summoning process by means of his own death, correct? Raha always was a reckless young fool, ready to die for the first righteous cause that came along. His plan might well have worked, but I for one am glad he never had the opportunity to see it through. Even if it does mean our friends must remain stranded a while longer. There is another way, I am sure of it. And the key lies with him, with the Exarch. Pray return to the First and apprise him and the others of the situation. We, meanwhile, will do what we can from here. And, if the fates are kind, we will have good news to share upon your return.
Don't you worry. Master Matoya and I will think of something. Take care in the First, Sarah. We're counting on you and the Crystal Exarch to bring our friends home. I did burn the last ticket. Alright. Alright. Scale archer, bedtime. Excuse me, a word if you would be so kind. We of the Crystarian Guard have a request to make of you. Our researchers are planning to enter the Crystal Tower to learn more of its history. However, there is a problem. Now, what I'm about to reveal is strictly confidential. The words get out, and it will spread throughout the citizenry. Our scouts have reported that ferocious beasts and bizarre machines roam the hallways. Until we can eliminate these threats, none may enter. Strange ethereal readings have also been detected, and we suspect that the phenomena are linked. The Exarch has ordered us to seek your aid in making the tower safe for researchers to go about their work. He mentioned that you are better equipped than most to face the dangers lurking in the tower, though he elected not to go into detail. Is this true? Then your prior experience might prove beneficial. Come, let us proceed to the entrance. Wait, aren't you? Yes, I thought so. Sarah Eaton, correct? You've been keeping very busy if all the rumors are to be believed. Why are you staring at me such incense? Pray tell, have I said something to offend you? You can cross her. You of all people. Judging your cryptic comments, I gather I bear resemblance to someone you know. But I can assure you that we have never met before, you and I. Don't believe me, then let us be friends. The more you learn about me, the more you will come to realize how different I am from this other. I am a wanderer by trade, a minstrel at heart, keeper of tales, a singer of songs, a server of forgotten truths. Yet in defiance of my inherent nature, I have elected to remain here for a time and compose new works. You being a traveling sinner, I'm sure you've seen the share of adventurers. Such stories have often served as the best sort of inspiration. Perhaps I could persuade you to regale me with a one or two. As a sinner of the world, you must surely have all manner of exciting experiences to share. Pray regale me with your finest, that way may inspire me to write a song or two after in return. You have a dough with me, my friend. The benevolent Savior who would lord over paradise itself. The only ruler fit for a stagnant monument to a hidden excess, Lord Vothry. But of course he would claim the title of innocence for himself in the end. I cannot speak to whether or not he was a monster as a child, but I can think of his monstrous deeds and what became of him as a man. Beneath blinding skies, the Lord of Light reigns supreme. From his lofty perch to a floating fortress he retreats to plot and scheme. Heavenly exile, born of man and sin, embrace your ascension, and forward in resplendent and vain pursuit of perfection. Though he summoned every ounce of his strength as a champion of the light, in the end Vothry was no match for the warrior of darkness. He wouldn't be the first to cloak himself in the trappings of righteousness. They are too common by half, some might even say. Nevertheless, I hope his example serves as a reminder of what evil men may do in the name of so-called good. You and yours did well to lay him low. No doubt you will confront other villains in the days ahead. I should be most eager to hear your full account after. Hades. I've traversed countless names and lands and heard numerous tales, and yet that name is unfamiliar to me. Pray tell me more. The very man who flooded this world in light, without its extinction might bring about the rejoining he sought, an assassin who lived 1,000,000 lives in pursuit of his single-minded goal until he fell at your hand. There is a part of me that cannot help but feel that it is not my place to tell this man's story, to sing of the ambitions that spurred him to wreak such wanton destruction, and those that compelled you to see his dream would die in vain. And yet, if you would permit me a moment's indulgence in a measure of poetic license, I would grace your ears with a tune. I call it Requiem for a Hero. His homeland lost to memory, though eons he did strive. Dark masks he wore, fell plots he hatched, to keep vain hope alive, till the day, and that very fateful day, when shadow clashed with light, true name revealed his dying wish. Remember us as we fade into night. A most challenging subject to put into words indeed, yet I can take some small solace in knowing that the eternity of the tale, in its all tragic and terrible glory, will live on within you. I must say, I find it quite fascinating how this end itself chose to reveal his true name on the verge of the battle that would prove to be his downfall. I am reminded of the Knights Blessed to have a similar tradition, in which they conceal their true names outside of rare occasions, such as funerals. What significance might the act of announcing his true name have carried for him? A matter to ponder, perhaps, should you wish to fully grasp the nature of your foe, with the shadow to your right. I am all ears, sir. The most esteemed of all Fey folk, the venerated ruler of the Pixies and the kingdom of Ravenloose, what a tragedy for Titania to go forth in defense of the subjects, only to be corrupted and transformed into that which they fought to defeat. A mad monarch once beloved, then feared, and finally set free. There, it is done, and ye shall be the first to hear it performed. For the love of the Fey folk, the king fought the light and felled. Pure spirit corrupted and enthralled to light spell. Poor treasures did lead her to the castle door, for treasures did free the king from torment evermore. I can only imagine the horror that must have gripped Titania in the moments before the transformation was complete, knowing that the very people you had sworn to protect would soon suffer and die by your hand. It is an all too familiar tale to those who have struggled to survive in the wake of the flood. We can but hope that the night's return is a comfort to their soul, should some aspect of it endure. With the passing of the light, the Fae now dance beneath starlit skies, where before they mourn, they now rejoice. You made this possible, my friend. And I look forward to hearing more of your adventures. Standing there in silence. Don't you know it's rude to wait, aren't you that mortal bound to fail, Old? Well now, isn't this a pleasant surprise? I have a proposal I've been meaning to put to you as it happens. Interesting. So those skywatchers you see all over, they're good at what they do, but even they can't tell you if it's raining or whatever back on the source, no? But with my help, they could. I could cross the rift, see what the weather's like for myself, come back and share my knowledge with these mortals by whispering to them in their dreams. I could do the same for the Skywatchers on the other side, too. Everyone would have all the answers, and they wouldn't even know how they got them. Wouldn't that be grand? I silence is all the approval I need. Off I go. Oh, that's good, yeah. I take it your preparations are complete. Listen carefully. You are to lead a party of elite troops into the tower and respond to any hostility with lethal force. Once the way is clear, the researchers can begin their expedition. Our main objective is to identify the source of the ethereal disturbance. The tower cannot be considered safe until we do. Should you encounter any opposition beyond your capabilities, you are to withdraw immediately. I wish you the best of luck. You have business with the crystal X. Just say the word and I will be happy to escort you to the island. Ah, Sarah, you are returned. I heard time in the source was suitably restful. Oh, but of course it wasn't. Go on. Corporal ether shows some signs of instability? By the gods, the possibility never even occurred to me. If you return in the hope that my research has yielded a solution, I fear you will be sorely disappointed. 'Tis but a mercy that we have the likes of Mr. Scrile and Master Matoya to keep our friends' bodies safe while we wrestle with the problem. But they cannot forestall the separation of body and soul indefinitely. Come, the others must be told.
Pray excuse my late arrival.
Will Thancred and Reen not be joining us?
Nay, milady. With apologies to all, they beg leave to pursue their investigation of the empty to its conclusion. Should matters here demand their presence, however, they did assure me that they would make themselves available.
Yes, of course. Then let us proceed. I think it best that you begin by providing a summary of Mistress Kryle's findings.
I suppose it was only to be expected that some change would occur.
Yet our souls seem unaffected, to my eye at least. How long they will remain so is another question. Kryle is right. It is imperative we find a way to return to the source.
Perhaps an explanation of the method by which I brought you here will yield some inspiration. Ere I begin, it must be noted that I am by no means a gifted mage. In order to employ powerful magics, I must rely upon the Crystal Tower and its boundless reservoirs of energy. The magic that summoned you was no exception. 'Tis a singular spell, adapted through painstaking effort from the technique that transported me to the First. To use an analogy, it works by cutting a hole in the fabric of reality. A hole tailored to the object of summoning, through which it and it alone may pass unscathed. Though I succeeded in creating said hole, I failed to latch onto my intended target. Instead of you, the spell found those close to you, and ended up summoning them in their incomplete state. I would not soon throw my life away. Not after the lengths you and yours went to save it. And so long as I breathe, I will spare no effort to see you safely home. But should all else fail, and your lives be at stake, there remains one sure method.
Oh. What was that for?
How can you even entertain such thoughts? You owe your life to the Warrior of Light, and you don't get to die unless she says so.
Ooh.
Your followers await your divine judgment.
What did you just...
If the two of you have finished, perhaps we could return to our discussion? Rather than dwelling upon the multiple failed attempts at transference, I think it would behoove us to focus on the solitary success. I would draw your attention to the fact that our friend can travel between worlds possessed not only of her body and soul, but her personal effects besides. This is no different from the teleportation magics to which we are all accustomed. Magics that allow for the transportation of those inanimate objects one considers to be an extension of oneself.
Are you suggesting that simply by considering us her possessions, she could carry our souls back to the source upon her person?
Well, it would be nice if things were that simple for a change. But vague notions of ownership seem a rather tenuous thing to stake our lives on. So much as a moment of doubt on her part and we'd be left floating in the rift.
Milady hath the right of it. The requisite fixity of belief would be too much to ask even of our friend. Yet were we to immure our souls within an object in her possession, mayhap then our safe passage could be assured. White Auracite would, I believe, serve as a suitable vessel for this purpose. It was conceived to imprison the massy soul of an Ascian, and should house one of ours with relative ease. We would need only to ensure our soul's safe preservation inside the stone, and identify a means by which they might be transferred back unto our vacant bodies.
Soul preservation and transference. I believe I know of someone who may be able to assist us. On the far shore of the source, there stands a great palace built by the elves. It was forsaken in the wake of the flood, but a certain Numo chose to make their home there soon after. Though they have long lived as a recluse, they once occupied a place of honor in Verbert's royal court, and it is said that none in all of Norvrand is more knowledgeable than they on matters of the soul.
Well, I've no objection to seeking a helping hand, but if they've gone to such lengths to hide themselves away from the world, what makes you think they'd be willing to lend us one?
A worthy question. Years ago, I myself tried and failed to solicit their cooperation in the battle against the Sin Eaters. No sooner had I begun to make my plea than they unleashed a swarm of their familiars upon me. Unlike me, however, you have curried favor with the Fae folk. By that merit alone, I am hopeful that they would grant you an audience. They may still be inclined to turn you away, of course, but if their knowledge might feasibly facilitate your return home, we have to try.
What am I getting? What am I getting? Costume. Ooh, level 500. 500. Wow. What do I have here? It's is said the kingdom of Ververt was once home to the realm's greatest knights and magic both. To command a place at the royal court, the new Mao, whom we seek, must needs have been a mage among mages. A mage surpassing skill of the mage of surpassing skill, living a life of seclusion. Now, where have I heard that before? One can only hope that they are more receptive in unsolicited visitations. I'm sick and tired of the XIV's attempt at selfless sacrifice. If he's just dying one more time, I swear I'm going to grant him his wish. The new Mao seemed such welcoming folk in the old Meg. What do you suppose could have driven this one to a life of seclusion? The Grand Cosmos, that is, the palace we seek, stands on the opposite shore of the source. We'll arrange for a boat to carry us there. Whilst that journey is thither, I think it best I devote my energies to the creation of White Arsite, by the leave, of course. The process requires no small amount of time, and should the new Mao consent to lend us their aid, we will have need of a suitable vessel ere long. Agreed. Then I would ask the rest of you to meet in the Solon, and to be prepared for a warm reception. Join the others in Solon. I shall turn my thoughts to the Arsite and reprise Thancred and Reen of our progress. The Exarch said to prepare for a warm reception at the palace. Let's hope it's more cordial than his last visit. He said the palace is on the opposite shore, but I see nothing on the horizon save empty sky. Curious. I was relieved to hear that the Exarch intended to arrange for a boat to carry us across the lake. Not that I would never have been opposed to swimming, mind you. As I told you before, I would scarcely step foot on the palace grounds when I was set upon by our host Norris. I expect the reception today to be no different. It is why I propose we march to the main gate, weapons drawn. I'm sorry, but are we not here to petition for assistance? I can't honestly think barging in looking for fight is going to give us anything. Actually, I believe the Exarch might have the right of it. They have no doubt poured a great deal of time and energy into creations. Were I them, I should be most interested to meet those who could overcome our defenses. As with any true seeker of knowledge, there is no word we can say or do to convince them to help us if we know nothing of their character, nor that's why they chose to hide themselves from the world. Oh, if you can seize their interest, perhaps we can earn ourselves an audience. Nothing's drawn in this then. I must say, Hector, you certainly seem to be enjoying all this. Do I? Well, not tonight. I enjoyed the thought of fighting alongside you all the way, rather than pacing about inside the crystal. We both seem to be rather in high spirits. Not that I'm surprised. You moves have barely improved in Charisma. What exactly are you implying? She was averted a calamity, and the light which seemed destined to consume her has been extinct. It's only natural it would be to see it. Yes, well, we have plenty of time to celebrate her good health after we're finished. Of course. Then let's proceed to the gods.